Moose and Keith.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is Moose and Keith with you right here on the Better Sports Network. Keith is wearing his Eagles. That's an awful jersey.
Brian Dawkins, baby! Hall of Famer!
I love Dawkins. Dawkins is unbelievable. And was unbelievable as a player, but that's a terrible jersey. You would agree with that.
It's a terribly good jersey. Does that make sense? God bless. See, look. Yeah, it's a terribly good jersey.
Is it a terribly good jersey?
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations, Keith, for the Eagles making it to the Super Bowl. Fly, Eagles, fly. They're in Super Bowl 57. Dave Sharapan will join us a little bit later on. Finger roll, Keith. Hot as a firecracker will give us some NBA picks in a little bit as well. Thanks for being with us right here. Where else? On the Better Sports Network. And we got you covered for the next couple hours, pillar to post. So thank you for being with us each and every day and for giving us a couple hours of your time and locked into Better Sports Network throughout the course of the day, of course, as well. And a lot to react to. A championship Sunday. That was I mean, listen, if you're an Eagle fan, you don't care. You're in the Super Bowl. You're going there second time in 5 years, doing it with a different head coach and Nick Sirianni, different quarterback and Jalen Hurts. Obviously, I don't think Hurts played particularly well yesterday. The quarterback situation for the 49ers made that game, a complete and utter mess. Once Purdy hurts his elbow and he can't throw the ball past 10 yards because he has no feeling down his forearm. And then Josh Johnson gets knocked out because he's in the concussion protocol. And then you're having Christian McCaffrey at times.
And they couldn't figure out how to get the right helmet for him.
Yeah, couldn't figure out. I mean, it was just the NFC Championship game. Listen, I think the Eagles were going to win regardless, but all the excitement when Josh Johnson steps on the field, and not trying to insult Josh Johnson, he's been a career backup. He started games. Give him a lot of credit. He's hung around the National Football League for a long time. There's things I like. There's limitations to what he is as a player. The fumble at the end of the first half really ended the game. That was a 14-7 game. He fumbles the football deep in his own end, basically at their 31-yard line, recovered by Hassan Reddick of the Philadelphia Eagles. They punch it in, make it a 21-7 lead at the half. Boston Scott with the 10-yard touchdown run, Keith. That was pretty much it. I mean, there was nothing to watch in the second half. Once the Eagles went up by 2 touchdowns, realizing what the quarterback situation was for the 49ers, and they could not run it like they wanted to, the game was over.
I mean, I'm just happy. I got to be honest with you, and I'll roll with you. We're going to break down a whole bunch of stuff. You and I talk about this often, about the whole fandom thing, and I think you wear your fandom on your sleeve a little bit more than I do typically. I try to hold it a little bit closer. The Eagles are just the fun one for me because, all right, so you know how you have a brother or sister, whatever, and you love them, but they're your best friend because they were born into your family. Like a lot of times people talk about you choose your wife, right? Or you choose a best friend. I chose the Eagles as my team when I was 13 years old. So it wasn't and I've told this story before. My dad was a Jets fan and I didn't want to be a Jets fan. I thought it was stupid. So I decided to pick the Eagles. The Eagles stunk at that time. They drafted Donovan McNabb, boom, to the moon. I'm happy. So yesterday and today was a little bit exciting for me as an Eagles guy. I don't typically broadcast it that often because I like to, stay even keeled. I also like the fact that I nailed my same game parlay in that one. I hope you guys tailed me. Eagles money line, the under 46.5, the Hurts anytime touchdown, the Kenneth Gainwell 11 or more rushing yards plus 850. Boom.
There you go. Very nice. Yeah, I hopefully some people did out there tell you that's a hell of a same game parlay.
I gave it out on Tops on Sunday also, so I gave it out twice.
You gave it out to the national TV audience as well. So you gave it here out on Better Sports Network and on CBS Radio. Yeah, I mean, enjoy it. This is great. I mean, you're going to enjoy the next couple of weeks and the build up to Super Bowl 57 if you're an Eagle fan. And a couple of things you want to figure out and find is Eagles had a much easier path to the Super Bowl, not taking anything away from them.
No, they
Giants, and then what happened with San Francisco yesterday. they've got some things to work on. Hurts, I want to know, exactly where he is physically. I don't know. There were some things watching him yesterday, running the football. He took contact in the second half. When he took that contact, it didn't look like he was all that ecstatic that he took that contact. He wasn't accurate throwing the football in the first half yesterday. So that's where I would be a little bit concerned about where Jalen Hurts is. Lane Johnson playing with that groin issue and re-tearing his groin last week, as you heard the report from Jay Glazer. Where's the big right tackle, the all-pro right tackle, going to be? And the other thing to keep an eye on would be A.J. Brown and that hip, because even though he downplayed it and the Eagles downplayed it, he wasn't running in the NFC Championship game like we watch A.J. Brown run since he's been in the NFL, or even at Ole Miss, but with the Titans and now obviously with the Philadelphia Eagles.
So as I sit here today, basking in the Eagles' glow,
yeah,
I will tell you this. I picked it at the beginning of the year. I still think the Chiefs are probably going to win this Super Bowl. I do. Like, when I watch what the Chiefs, and I know you and I are going to break down each game, and we'll really get into each thing. Just broad, stroke of this, because I was looking at the numbers this morning. Chiefs on the money line plus 108. I like that value, getting over even money on the Chiefs just to win that game. The Eagles are minus 126. The Eagles open up most books at 1.5 favorites. I think the Chiefs are a hair better, and it's because I trust that Mahomes in the next, whatever it is, 12, 13 days can be healthier than what Hurts is going to be. I think there's something a little bit more. I almost think you nailed it right there. He looked apprehensive on some of his plays, Hurts. Now, could that change in 13 days? Maybe. Yeah. That's a lot of time to just be thinking about, I don't want to get hit. Maybe I don't want to get hit. Maybe I shouldn't get hit. Right? The Eagles' defensive front is sick. But guess what? The Chiefs' defensive front and Chris Jones looked amazing yesterday, too. And they
did, but
absolutely
you're
Cincinnati.
Right. No, you're right. I think we got to take for me personally, what I do is take a step back. I think you saw the limitations of the Bengals offensive line that didn't rear its ugly head against the Buffalo Bills because they were playing that game in the snow. And I think it reared its ugly head that you saw against the Kansas City Chiefs. No, all due respect to Chris Jones, finally getting his first career playoff sack. He's been an unbelievable defensive lineman. Frank Clark, he had himself a game, and we'll hear from Frank here in a little bit, smoking the cigar. But I do think it's a little bit of a product of the opponent that he went up against. And I would not expect the Chiefs' defensive line to look similar to against the Eagles that they looked against Cincinnati. That's all. Hurts is a big day. I mean, the brilliance of Mahomes, his ability to lengthen out plays. Where's the health of the receiving core? When you look at Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, the limitations when you look at the weapons for the Kansas City Chiefs, that was an issue as that game went along yesterday, and those guys not being available. How did Patrick Mahomes playing on it yesterday? How much did he aggravate that high ankle sprain? Because he clearly was limited. He was limping around on the field. There were times, obviously, ran for the big first down late, set him up for the field goal after the personal foul penalty. We'll get to that here in just a second. But, I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to, before I think you make an argument for, I think it's a great game. I think it's a great matchup. I think it's unbelievable storylines when you look at it. Super Bowl 57, I think, is going to be epic. I think you can make an argument easily for both teams. I don't have a great lean one way or the other. Probably going to be a Philadelphia household up here in Stamford, Connecticut, because
let's go.
And I think there's a lot to like about what Philadelphia can do against the Kansas City Chiefs, but I got to see if number 2 is healthy as well.
I did mean to ask you, is Jackson coming to my house to watch the Super Bowl? You could send him down.
Yeah, well, I got to see what the schedule hockey-wise is that day.
No. Hockey's canceled that day. Yeah. Jackson's going to come to the Eagles household.
Oh, no doubt. Are you guys going to be all fly, Eagles fly? Are you picking now? Is it one of these old kind of Russo can't lose? I'm going to pick the Chiefs in the game, and if the Eagles win, then I win no matter what way I cut it. Either I win financially or I win. To be honest with you,
I don't know if I'm going to gamble on this game. I don't, because I think that, when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl in 2017, gambling wasn't legal around here, so it wasn't a thing that was easy to do anyway, right? It wouldn't have been something to do. So I was able to just enjoy that game and watch them amazingness win, right? I want to see the Eagles win. So if I was going to bet on anything, I would just bet on the Eagles because I just want to. There's no way that I will sit here and root for the Eagles, but then if the Chiefs win, be like, at least I won some money. No, I'm not going to do that. So more than likely, I won't gamble on the game. I might bet some props. Maybe I'll do some Super Bowl boxes and stuff like that. But I don't think I'll pick a side. Unless I pick the Eagles, because I really want the Eagles to win. Why? What are we doing here? I just talked myself in a circle. I'm gambling on the game, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, I think it. And there's going to be so much to way to look at it. So many different angles to handicap when you look at Super Bowl 57, whether it be the side of the total, all the player props, all the other props that come into play as well. It's going to be a fun couple weeks. I'm looking forward to analyzing it and breaking it down. Outside of an X's and O's perspective, but how. You can financially make a little bit of money as well, and maybe a lot of money. If you listen to Keith in a same game parlay, maybe a lot of money when you're looking at Super Bowl 57 too.
Yeah, I'll get us a good same game parlay. I'm going to get us a winner. I think my goal is going to be, but I think what I'm going to want to do though too is I'm going to want to come up with a few same game parlays where it's going to be, again, for the people out there, we're going to have like a Chiefs parlay where if you believe the Chiefs are going to win, here are the 3 to 5 legs I think that would work for you. And I think we could do this as a show over the next, 2 weeks as well. We'll come up with different ways. And if you think the Eagles are going to win, boom, can you do it this way? I also think there's a way to play like a total and not pick a side. So you pick an under or an over, and then you put that together with some player props. And the other thing that I'll throw to you, Moose, is this. If you're going to pick a winner, I guess in theory, you're supposed to pick the Eagles, and I'll tell you why. The Chiefs are the number one passing offense in football. The Eagles are the number one passing defense in football. When this happens in the Super Bowl, the defensive team wins. So if we're talking just history, streaks, and trends, right? And that doesn't always bode true because guess what? Joe Burrow, I don't know if you heard
that.
this.
One more time.
So the Chiefs are the number one passing offense.
Right.
The Eagles are the number one passing defense. Historically, it's either 3 or 4 times, whatever it was. I can't remember. I saw the number, and I apologize. If anyone can fact check me, please do. Otherwise, I'll find it. But historically, the team that has the number one passing defense going against the team that has the number one passing offense in the Super Bowl, it's happened, I think, 3 or 4 times. The defensive team is undefeated.
Yeah, Seattle and Denver was one of those matchups, I believe.
Yeah, there's been a few, and I saw it this morning. I apologize, I didn't jot it down.
That's a good one. Well, that's a nice check mark in the column of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I think it's fun. I mean, I do. I think Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs going up against his old nemesis, or not his old stomping ground of the Philadelphia Eagles, where he couldn't win a Super Bowl, had a lot of chances, a lot of NFC Championship game appearances, never was able to get over the top, went to one Super Bowl, lost to the New England Patriots down in Jacksonville. So I think for a lot of different reasons, I think it's a great matchup, the 2 number 1 seeds in the AFC and the NFC respectively. There's a lot to like about it. By the way, I just want to say one thing about like the end of the officiating, just as we talk about in the 49er Eagle game, how the quarterback situation messed up. The National Football League in the last 11 minutes of that fourth quarter of the Chiefs and Bengals game was a complete and utter embarrassment on a lot of different levels. And it took away from the enjoyment of the game. It leads to rampant speculation on social media about the games being rigged or that it's not on the level. And I wholeheartedly don't believe that. This is not professional wrestling. When we watch NFL football, you have an understanding that you go into it and that any team can win. You can't make up for the fact that sometimes you have imbeciles on the field that are officiating games. And that's exactly what you saw last night out at Arrowhead between the Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. The other thing is, and I get it was a roughing penalty on Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. Number one is I feel bad for Osai, the young linebacker, defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's 22 years old, and people just absolutely dragging him on social media. He's crying on the bench. One of his teammates, Jermaine Pratt, is walking off the field, going to the Bengals locker room and screaming and hollering about him making a penalty. Well, I mean, there were other times to make plays in that game as well. The other aspect of it that bothers me is this, is that you are deciding a game if you're the official there for what was he did not go head hunting. It was a slight push. He was flying to try and prevent Patrick Mahomes from getting into field goal territory. At some point in time, there's got to be a little common sense looking at game and time situation if you are an official on the field and realizing that if you throw that yellow flag, you are basically putting the Kansas City Chiefs into the Super Bowl in a game that wholeheartedly should have went to overtime. You look at it, I mean, there's no reason to believe that game should never have gone into overtime. And I'm not telling you that, he wasn't a stride out of bounds. I get it. I understand it. Was that the most blatant thing we've ever seen? He didn't grab his helmet, didn't headhunt, didn't spear him, didn't anything. It was a slight push in the back. He almost basically tore every ligament in his knee as he was trying to avoid contact with his teammates. And if you're an official there, that's where, and mind you, I understand if you are a Kansas City fan and you bet them to the high moon, you are celebrating, you're enjoying it, you're screaming, jumping up and down that, that is a penalty. Put Butker into field goal range. He hits the 45-yard field goal. Off you went to Super Bowl 57. I thought it was a shame, though, for the National Football League for that game to be decided by that. In that scenario, that game deserved to go to overtime. It really did. You decided a game on what was, I thought, a penalty that should never have been called at the end of the game.
Letter of the law, it was the correct call, correct, right? Like just letter of the law, it was the right call. It smelled wrong.
You cannot make that call in that situation.
That's what I'm saying. It smelled wrong.
You cannot.
You can't be the person that shows up to the office and goes to the microwave and heats up your fish in the microwave and then ruins everything for everybody else. And that's what it felt like. Mahomes didn't get hurt. Now, listen, I guess the referees are sitting there, they're trying to take care of guys like Mahomes and Burrow, and especially Mahomes on the gimpy leg. I guess there's more to it, but it just smelled bad. And I'm not saying, like, I don't subscribe at all to this NFL rigged thing, hashtag NFL rigged. I think it's stupid. The sports are not rigged. They're not. They are not. They are not. It was just a bad call by an officiating crew that had a really rough night.
They embarrassed themselves.
They had a really rough night.
Well, how about the one where, Zach Taylor, they run a play. Nobody realizes, the players on the field don't realize the play was called off. And then you put time back on and redo the 3rd and 9 play. I mean, what are we doing here? It's embarrassing if you're the National Football League. The officiating crew yesterday at Arrowhead Stadium was a complete and utter joke. It really does. And I get it. I understand when that happens, you got to say, oh, you got to be smarter than that. You're looking at a young man, that's going in full flight to try and prevent Patrick Mahomes from picking up any type of yardage. What do you expect him to do? Stop in midair? Like he's Neo in the Matrix? I mean, what exactly do you want him to do at that stage? It's not going to happen. Like, let's be smarter about it. That is a bang-bang play. That is not Mahomes stepping out of bounds and then a safety coming up and launching himself at the quarterback. That is not that. That is a guy that is in full pursuit, trying to prevent Mahomes, or as he said after the game, trying to get him to knock him backwards so the clock continues to run before he goes out of bounds. Like he has a understanding of what football is, unlike, say, a Dalton Schultz, as we saw the previous week for the Dallas Cowboys. And you're going to basically have that define the early part of his career where he's getting called out by teammates, where he's openly weeping on the bench. By the way, if you're CBS, and I don't need to see it time and time again, sticking the camera in the young man's face after he has a low point in the National Football League and he's crying the bench trying to be consoled by his teammates. I don't need to go to that camera angle time and time and time. He feels bad enough. He feels bad enough. It's going to take him months until the Bengals get back there and get to a Super Bowl. He's going to relive that moment time and time again. And you had an official that basically decided a championship game on what I thought was a penalty that should never have been called. It was just a terrible. You cannot do that if you're the National Football League. You can't. If you're on that field, you have to have an understanding of where we are in the game. We're all watching it at home. You're on the field. You're watching that, and you're saying that once I call this 15-yard penalty, they are kicking a game-winning field goal with a guy that's got an absolute cannon for a leg. I am sending the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl. Am I comfortable with that? Is that penalty so egregious that I'm deciding a game? Because that is what happened yesterday at Arrowhead Stadium. And the penalty should never have been called.
Okay. I agree with pretty much everything you said there. But if on the flip side, they don't call the penalty, you go to overtime, Cincinnati wins. Are Chiefs fans hooting and hollering last night and this morning that it was a late hit, a roughing, a dangerous hit on Patrick Mahomes that should have been called, that should have gotten the 15 yards, and we should have been, and I'll say we because I'm acting like a Chiefs fan, we should have had the opportunity to kick a game-winning field goal. Again, I don't like it. I didn't like it. I don't think the penalty should have been called.
The Chiefs at that stage were gasping. Let's be honest. I mean,
letter of the law. It was the right call, though, right?
You can't make that call at that stage. You cannot decide a title game on that. When you saw earlier in the fourth quarter, I mean, you not only at the 10:29 mark of the fourth quarter did they decide to basically neglect a play that just happened, which would have forced a fourth down punt by the Kansas City Chiefs, gave them the ball back. But on the ensuing 3rd and 9, then they called defensive holding on the Cincinnati Bengals and gave them a first down.
Yeah.
Then you look at it and you watch the replay of the Sky Moore punt return, right? There are Bengal fans screaming and hollering that there was an obvious clip on the near
side,
right, correct. No doubt about it. There was an obvious clip that they did not call, that they clearly missed, which put the ball right at midfield, which set up, obviously, everything that we're talking about now. And Osai getting called for roughing the passer, 15 yards. Butker gets the game-winning 45-yard field goal in order to win it for Kansas City. It was so inconsistent when you're looking at it. And let's be honest, there was not a Chief fan. Once he's throwing the ball to back up fourth-string receivers and back up tight ends at that stage, that didn't think, in the end, that Joe Burrow and the Bengals were going to get him again. They've been dominant in the second half. They've come back on Kansas City each and every one of those wins. I'm not telling you that I was rooting for Cincinnati. I wasn't. I love Joe Burrow. I talked about it. And I love Mahomes. Mahomes is an unbelievable player. Congratulations. I just hated the way that game ended.
Yeah, again, it's just the smell of it. I agree.
Ended, and how the officials played such a distinct role in deciding who won that game. That bothered me. I mean, it just bothered me sitting, driving home last night, doing the TV show on Picks last night at 11 o'clock. It bothered me going back and watching the replay of it again. It bothered me seeing him getting dragged on social media, seeing the fact that his teammates, or a couple of them, or at least one of them, and Pratt was throwing him under the bus as he's walking back to the locker room. Congratulations. A good job by BJ Hill, standing there with him after the game when he was getting questioned and peppered by reporters who were just doing their job about what happened at the end of the game, by being there to comfort him and console him. Listen, you're looking at a 22-year-old man. These are not robots. It's played with emotion. He's putting and laying his body on the line to try and win a football game at the end of that game. Let's have a little bit of compassion. I understand. I get it. Let's have a little bit of compassion. And if you're an official on the field, I would need to realize game and time situation. What is going on in the game at that stage? Is that a penalty that needs to be called? And I just didn't think it needed to be called, because I don't think we'd wake up today and we'd have a scenario if the Bengals win that game in overtime, the Kansas City Chief fans, Keith, would be texting us, calling us, whatever it might be, right here on the Better Sports Network, and screaming and hollering that they missed the roughing the passer penalty. I don't think that would happen. I think Kansas City would be like, oh, my God, Joe Burrow is that good. Or, we were depleted. We had no weapons. Mahomes was, the injury got worse and worse as the game went along. That's all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to rant a little bit, but
no,
it just
Moose was just on the loose.
Yeah, it just bothered me at the end of that game. I didn't love the fact that the Chiefs were put into the Super Bowl by a penalty.
This is what's great about sports, right? The fact that, you had, unless you gambled on it, you personally, Mark Malusis, had zero rooting interest in that game, right?
None.
Neither of those teams are your teams.
No.
You didn't grow up watching either of those teams. Neither of the starting quarterbacks went to Syracuse. No, there isn't a wide receiver that shows up at the hockey rink to watch your sons play. There was no rooting interest for you there. You, Mark Malusis, the sports fan, got so into a game and got so, honestly, enraged with how a game ended. That's what's great about sports, man. I love this. That's why I was trying to sit here. I didn't even want to interrupt your rant. I wanted to kind of let you go because that's great. Like, that's what I love about this. I love that sports can do that, and it'll raise your blood pressure, and then I'm going to help you. Ready? Just do it with me. Just go fly, Eagles, fly. See? If you do this, all is good.
Yeah, and no, I know.
Yes!
Fly, Eagles, fly. The Eagles don't bother me. I was rooting for them last night. I was actually rooting for them.
Unlikable. They're a likable team. Maybe not Sirianni, but they're a likable team.
You know, to all the 49er fans out there, I'm not trying to say I was rooting against. Here's what it comes down to.
I was rooting against Jacob Asa 1. I mean, down with that guy.
No,
you know,
I didn't. Did you really want to see a Super Bowl with no Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson, your starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers? Like, there came a point in time where I'm kind of projecting and thinking, when that game's tied up at 7 after the McCaffrey 23-yard touchdown run, I'm like, well, no Purdy. We've seen that injury.
You might have gotten Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe. I mean, I know he's on his way. Who knows? But how would that have looked? He hasn't played football in so long, and all of a sudden you're going to stick him into Super Bowl 57.
Sign Tom Brady.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. He is a free agent after all, right? Can't they just plug and play? That's where and the Eagles don't bother me. You know, Sirianni doesn't bother me like he bothers some people. Hurts is, very, very easy. Got to root for. I like. There's a lot to like about this matchup, but I could understand if you're a Bengal fan waking up on this Monday absolutely ticked off to the high heavens about what happened out at Arrowhead yesterday, because did not look great.
Yeah, I could tell you people out there that I am on my way. Lucra, the NFL Playoff Challenge. Your boy's at number 56 right now, still with 4 players to go. I got Mahomes, I got Kelsey, I got Miles Sanders, I got AJ Brown.
Are you talking about the first round or the second?
The first one.
Oh, okay.
The one that Jacob Asa, the Niners fan that I'm poking some fun in our chat, just busting his chops a little bit. I think he's like 18, 19, 20, something like that. I'm coming for people.
Very nice. I love that.
Coming for people.
Lucra, we love Lucra. Who doesn't?
Yeah, buddy. I think I lost my first Lucra. No, it got voided because of one of the players. I can't remember which one, but whatever.
We'll hear from some of the winning players. We'll hear from Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts. We'll go through that. Keith's got a little finger roll coming your way later on this hour. And the great Dave Sharapan will join us too a little bit later on in the hour. Or a little bit later on. Did
you start your planking yet?
No.
You got 7 minutes now for 5 days, just so you know.
No, I understand. I was busy over the weekend. We had a lot going on.
You could have planked at an ice hockey rink. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to do that. That's tough to do.
I want you to become that guy.
No, I can't be that. Nobody is that guy.
No one is. I would never do that either.
Nobody's that
just try to talk you into it for fun.
I don't see anybody doing air squats or
can I actually tell you that
sit-ups and when you're at a hockey rink. Do you see that in the basketball gym?
No. All right. I actually don't know who the guy is. Okay. So we were at soccer practice. This was late September, early October. Beautiful weather, right? It was like crisp, 58, 60 degrees. And this one dad who's actually not in like the greatest shape. He's an average looking man. It's not like he's some like Adonis man, right? Just an average looking guy. He breaks out. He starts like stretching on the side. And you're like, all right, like not a big deal. Like people like, your calf is tight.
I got a fire alarm going on here.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Is Donna burning something?
I don't know what's going on. Let me.
I'll finish the story after the break. Let's make sure that your house doesn't burn down. You go take care of that. We'll step aside. We got sound, we got video, and I'll tell you about a dad that was stretching and trying to work out at soccer practice. It's Moose and Keith, Better Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated. And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that, because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We have these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like,
How dare you?
he smacked the globe. He was like, what do you
all
mean?
the hard work we've done.
2023, geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm
you?
just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is Algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad. Ray, I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
It's a great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like, it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's
And
the
I think
problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%.
drink.
That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But, Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the Clear Pass. You know,
Yeah,
the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
West Side.
Moose and Keith on Better Sports Network.
All clear at the Malusa.
All good?
Okay,
All right.
We're all good. I'm sorry. So the smoke alarm interfered with the story. What's
Hey,
going
at least
on?
it worked.
Yes,
At least it works,
did.
right?
Yes.
So the story goes like this. We're all at soccer practice, and what they do for these soccer practices, many teams practice at the same field. So it's some, parents that you don't know who they are. So there's one guy, he always has a chair, and he's always sitting there in a chair, and he starts stretching, right? And like, who are you to judge someone stretching? Like maybe your back is bothering you, calf hurt, whatever, right? Like it's cool, stretch a little bit. I look over like 5 minutes later, the guy breaks out these push-up like handles, and he's doing sets of push-ups on the field. It was weird. It was weird. It was. I'm like, I don't begrudge people for trying to be physically fit. I know a lot of the parents actually, because there's a track around the field, will walk the track while their kids are playing. Whether you're listening to music, you're on the phone, you're just talking to another parent. I think it's great. Get a little exercise in like that. It was weird. The guy was just doing sets of push-ups on push-up bars too. He's like, and he like wasn't even locking out enough. And then I started judging him.
Yeah. No. Well.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I started judging him a little.
What
bit.
did you think?
Terrible. I wanted to go over and give him pointers. Would that have been wrong? But like, yo, bro, lock your elbows out. Lock out, bro. Lock out at the top.
I think it's fine.
Stop worming, man. Stop worming. Come on.
What's it called? Worming?
Worming, when you do you do the worm with your body.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't just boom go straight up like that. You start tilting out like this, and you're like,
oh, I see
like,
what you're saying.
yeah,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I should have gone over and made fun of him.
Yeah, I'm sure
Speaking of making fun, I got something for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read you 16 names. You're gonna tell me what they all have in common. Okay.
Okay.
Stan Humphries, Neil O'Donnell. Actually, I'm gonna give you last names. You'll know. O'Donnell, Bledsoe, Chandler, McNair, Collins, Gannon, Delhomme, McNabb, Hasselbeck, Grossman, Kaepernick, Newton, Ryan, Goff, Garoppolo.
Yeah, all losing quarterbacks.
Yeah, so all of those guys, and now Joe Burrow is included in that, have lost their first time in a Super Bowl as a starter and haven't made it back to the big game. So Burrow at least is on, unfortunately, that trajectory right now.
Yeah, I think he'll get back eventually.
Dan Marino thought he was going to get back too.
No, true. You're right about that. And he never did for myriad of different reasons. But does it take away from what he's accomplished? I think he's just a little bit different. We'll see how it plays out. I don't think the Bengals are going anywhere. I really don't. I think we'll see. Maybe they lose their defensive coordinator who's going to interview for the Arizona head coaching job. That would be a hit. I think Zach Taylor's a pretty good or very good young coach in the National Football League. I think Cincinnati Bengals got a good one there, and I think they've got a quarterback in Burrow that's been a climate, culture, program, organizational changer for the way that you view the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think that's going to change now here moving forward. And if their line's a little bit healthier, maybe that game plays out a little bit differently yesterday. Even with all those limitations, they were still right there.
I agree. I was half kidding. It was just an interesting...
No, but you're right. You never know. I mean, listen, Aaron Rodgers won one Super Bowl. Brett Favre won one Super Bowl. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. It took for John Elway to win a Super Bowl, you need the help of Terrell Davis. Later on in his life, he didn't win it when he was in the prime of his career. Jim Kelly, went to a lot of Super Bowls, never won it. So, I mean, there are guys that get there and never win it. It is a difficult thing to do. And Tom Brady felt like, other than the Giants and the Eagles, never lost a Super Bowl. So I get it. I understand. That's why, when we talked about earlier about the Osai for the Cincinnati Bengals having the penalty called on him late, because it's so difficult to get back to that point, to have the kind of year, the special quality to the team, that when you have that kind of a penalty decide a game, it makes it kind of heartbreaking. It really does. And you feel for him. I mean, you really do, because it's going to be something that you and I are going to be moving on from in the next couple of days. A lot of people, but it's going to be something that's going to live with him and irk him for quite some time.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, I'm sure he probably didn't sleep much last night, and he's going to have some problems sleeping, because we've all been in situations where we've struggled at something, and you put your head down on the pillow at night and you're like, oh, I'm replaying all of it again, and I'm going to continue. I would say that in the AFC, and the reason I brought up that Burrow stuff too is I think the AFC is a gauntlet, and it's a quarterback gauntlet, right? Like, Josh Allen's not going anywhere, and we don't know if the Buffalo Bills might take a step back or not, but Josh Allen's going nowhere. Justin Herbert's going nowhere. Mahomes is going nowhere. Burrow's not leaving the Bengals either. And then Trevor Lawrence is kind of waiting on the come up. You probably have 5 of the maybe 8 best quarterbacks over the next 5 years are in the AFC.
Yeah, no doubt. You're right. And they all can't go to the Super Bowl every single year. So you're not wrong. It's not that whole aspect and dynamic of it. It's fascinating and interesting because you're 100% correct. For if you're an AFC fan, if you don't have one, you better go get one. If you're not one of those teams and one of those quarterbacks that you just ran down.
Yeah, it's a tough gauntlet. Speaking of quarterbacks, let's go back to the Eagles, and I would like to hear from Jalen Hurts. Can we roll some Jalen Hurts video, please? No, I can't.
2, 3, fly, Eagles fly on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles fly, go and touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch those Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly on the road to victory.
That's great. That's awesome.
Oh, he's tone deaf, and I love it. But that was a blast. I specifically asked Arnie and Keith if we could play that just for fun. Again, we're trying to make everyone smile today. All right.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, outside of being a 49er fan, but yes, I think it's great. It's great. The Fly Eagles fly. You're enjoying it. You're an Eagle fan. All Eagle fans are out there. You punch your ticket. and as good as you were in the regular season, you're able to come through with great performances and take advantage of situations in the postseason as well.
Yeah, and I mean the Eagles have Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or whatever, right? That's what Nick Sirianni says.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Someone said I saw someone on one of the shows.
It's his own player.
No, it doesn't either. I don't. Someone, it was an NFL player on one of the shows was asked what they think about that, and they go, I think I'd like to be his agent because that's a really easy thing to now lay down on the table. Boom. Yep. You guys have Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant? I think we're gonna have to pay Jalen Hurts like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant.
Yes. Well, it would certainly that would help in negotiations. Well, and maybe it does get used in those conversations, but I think overall we know how good Hurts is. I just wonder where he is health-wise. It did bother a lot of people yesterday that the Empire State Building.
But could we talk about it though?
Yeah. That they were lit up green and white, and then after the Chiefs won, it was lit up red and yellow for the Kansas City Chiefs. They said they were going to do that for whoever won on Championship Sunday.
So apparently this was something that was agreed upon with the NFL and the Empire State Building. My guess is there was something to like this to it, right? Like there was some sort of money exchange to be a part of this. It didn't matter who was going to win. It was going to be. Now, unfortunately for the state, the city of New York City, all of the surrounding area, it stinks. I mean, like most New Yorkers hate Philadelphia sports, so it did not feel right. But there was a deal, and that's why it was done. But even I'll tell you, Mike and Lou at the bus stop this morning. Whoo! Mike's a Giants fan. Whoo! He was angry. He was like, he actually was like, I wouldn't even go to that building anymore. What a joke. It is an embarrassment. He was going off. I'm like, Mike, it was a deal they made. I don't care if it's a deal. I'm like, but what if the Giants would have won? Then it would be blue for well, because that's our city. No, but Mike, like, relax for a second. It's a deal they made. I'm sure there was money involved. I don't care. It's a travesty. And I'm like, all right, Mike, hey, fly Eagles fly.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't, and I'm a New Yorker and a native New Yorker. I don't know. It doesn't bother me all that much. I mean, so the Empire State Building had an agreement with the National Football League to have the Eagles colors and have or whoever won the NFC game, whoever won the AFC game to have their colors for a period of time on Sunday night. And people just
really
lost their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, they just absolutely lost their minds. How do you do this? This is New York. It's not Philadelphia. Well, I mean, then go beat them. I mean, that's it. I mean, it wasn't lit up green and white for the Jets. I mean, we know that. So it was lit up green and white for the Philadelphia Eagles. You knew it was going to happen. They told you that it was going to happen. And then it happened, and people are irate and losing their mind about it. I get the whole thing of, well, this is New York. How do you do that? There's no love lost between Philadelphia and New Yorkers, Philadelphians and New Yorkers. When you look at their sports fans, they can't stand one another. I understand all that. I get it. And if you're a Giant fan and you're that ticked off about it, and you're never going to visit the Empire State Building again, well, you're going to miss a pretty sight because it's beautiful when you go to the top of the Empire State Building.
One of my favorite buildings.
It doesn't bother me. I don't know. I wasn't as irate as everybody else. I saw, Portnoy going at it with the Empire State Building last night, and the Empire State Building, whoever's running their Twitter account, reacting to what Dave Portnoy was saying. I saw one person after another. I tweeted out, quote tweeted, said it's amazing. I get why you'd be upset about it. It just did, in all honesty, Keith, it did not bother me to the level that it did bother a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it was green for the Jets. No.
Said it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, green for the Jets. No, whatever, man. There's a lot of other things we could be getting mad at. That's not I don't know. Fun story though. Empire State Building. Thank you for essentially trolling everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm with Baby J. I've been in Connecticut too long. No, I have not been in Connecticut too long. I go to New York like 5-6 days a week. What are you talking about? Majority of my time I spend in New York. I don't spend in Connecticut.
Moose is New York. New York.
No, I'm there all the time. It just doesn't upset me Like it doesn't. Like what they beat the Giants like a drum 2 Saturdays ago. Like I don't. The Eagles are flat out better. Like it's not like you lost a heartbreaking game to the Eagles like the Chiefs did to like the Bengals just did to the Kansas City Chiefs. The game was over like by the end of the first quarter 2 Saturdays ago. Like if you're a Giant fan, you're going to be that irate. Why? Because Philadelphia beat the snot out of you?
Yeah. Eagles are very likable too, guys. Remember that. Very likable team. Yeah. I'm going to beat that drum for the next 2 weeks. Can I tell you one more thing about my neighbor Mike?
Yes.
Diehard Giants fan. I did talk him into believing, like he agreed that the players on the Eagles are likable. He still hates them. But he agreed that the players are likable.
Very cool.
So essentially he admitted that he's rooting against laundry, Seinfeld. Baby J's asking for my mic to be turned off. No, Baby J. I'm here forever.
That's exactly right.
Unless I turn my mic off by accident, You
want to hear from, let's hear from, if we can get it loaded and ready to go. Let's hear from Frank Clark and some of the winning Chief players.
Frank the Tank!
Here's Frank Clark after the victory yesterday or last night by Kansas City.
Had a long embrace with your head coach. What did Andy Reid just say to you? We did. We had to come back out here. Last year this time, same team sent us home, man. Very disappointing season. I don't know who the hell they think they was calling this bird. I don't know who the hell they thought to finish us off. They bum Cincinnati. Man, they stumped up. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I told them all holler at me. My best. I told them this year they barely got my best. I told them with the playoffs though, I'm the king. They gotta holler at me every game. Let's go.
That was awesome. By the way, on Tops yesterday, Amy Tresk said she never the Burrowhead thing. Why give bulletin board material?
Yeah, we said it last week.
Thomas Davis said the same thing.
Yeah.
Kyle Long said the same thing. Like all these people that have been in the locker rooms, because I think as talking heads like you and I, sometimes I wonder if we're wrong about those things. I do. You and I have never actually played that sport or run an organization. You wonder, does it really matter to a player if someone says Burrowhead? But it does.
I don't. In that instance, I don't know. I think there's things that you could draw upon when you didn't play the game that you could say, well, experience factors in. Yeah. That's just nonsense, especially with the fact that the Bengals were ticked off by the NFL putting the alternate site tickets for sale for the AFC Championship game if it happened to be Bills and Chiefs down in Atlanta, and they used that as motivation. Then they went out there, and they'll learn from it. But then they went out there, and Mike Hilton was caught on a microphone during that Bills game of calling it Burrowhead and the like. So they'll learn from it. It was a mistake. It just was. I just didn't. If you felt disrespected the week previous, why would you then spend the next week disrespecting your opponent?
And then the Cincinnati mayor got into it too.
Yeah, that makes little to no sense. It just did. But we said it last week when we were talking about the game and said it just I didn't understand the tact of Cincinnati. I thought the Bengals, listen, Frank Clark, they didn't beat them. They barely hung on. Let's be realistic here. That was not a beatdown by the Kansas City Chiefs. They hung on for dear life, and they needed the benefit of the flag for that game not to go to overtime. They were sweating in there, down the stretch of that game as Burrow was throwing a seed to T. Higgins, a 4th and 6 pass to Jamar Chase, scrambling on 3rd and long, and we're 2nd and long, 2nd and 14, scrambling for a first down. They were absolutely sweating if you're a Chief fan. So I get it. I didn't understand why the Chiefs said it or the Bengals said it leading up to that game, but that by far was not a beatdown. We've watched beatdowns. The Eagles beat down the Niners yesterday. The Eagles beat down the Giants the week before. We've seen ugly games in this NFL postseason. And on the whole, the games have not been overly great. That was not a beatdown by Kansas City. The Chiefs have got to learn from it, whether it be a penalty, whether it be poking the bear going into the game. that'll be a learning lesson for Zach Taylor and the Bengals.
Yeah, I think there's always things you take away, you learn a little bit. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, back to the drawing board, and maybe you don't need to be so braggadocious, like you don't need to be. As for the Kansas City Chiefs, Chris Jones, you and I talked about at top of this one a little bit. Excellent ball player, sack master during the regular season, had yet to get a sack in the postseason. Ended up with 2 yesterday, right? 2 sacks?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 sacks yesterday. Let's load it up. Let's hear from Chris Jones, who we could also call Chief Jones.
You guys had to get after Joe Burrow quick, and this one you were able to do it. The best in the game right here. This is the best in the game right here. Ain't no question. I know you wanted to get over the hump in the postseason, had to have a sack. You did your business today.
Yeah, not let my emotions all bottle up throughout the week. There's a lot of talking going on. I'm not really much of a talker. It's a full circle, 360, man. These are moments I prepared for all offseason. I dedicated my offseason to this moment last year when I missed 2 sacks to end the game, and I put it up on myself. This game, we gonna end it up front, and that's what we did. We got a resilient group in our room, so with the D-line, and these guys fought through all night, man.
The last thing you said to us when you walked off the podium here at Arrowhead was everybody enjoyed Burrowhead. Did that motivate you all week?
Hey, let me tell y'all something, man. Don't ever, and I'm looking at the camera when I say this, disrespect Arrowhead. I don't care how many times you done beat us. Don't ever disrespect Arrowhead Stadium. And G-E-H-A!
I gotta ask you one more about what your quarterback did to essentially, with his legs, on one leg, get you guys in field goal position to win this game.
Hey, he fought hard, man. Fought hard the whole offense. The whole defense, though. We ain't talking about the offense right now. We're talking about the defense. We're talking about the defense. That's what we do. And we bad!
Yeah, there you go.
Shouldn't have asked one more question. Should have left it alone. Once he went into the camera, James Palmer, good job with everything up to that point. Not trying to judge anybody on their question asking, but how do you, he was cutting a WWE promo right there. Let him cut the promo and walk off.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I do. I think it's just funny. It's like, I don't care how many times you come in and beat us. Don't ever disrespect Arrowhead. It makes no sense. Like if I go into Arrowhead and I win every single time, like why can't I poke fun at you guys if you never beat me?
Don't ever. What? Don't ever.
It's so stupid.
Arrowhead.
Whether it be and I'm not saying Chris Jones is stupid. I'm just saying like Frank Clark and Jones and rewriting history. We beat them. We beat them down. No, you didn't. Oh,
sorry.
They won the game. Move on. I get it. He used it as motivation. The motivation's got to be, I'm about to try and punch my ticket to the Super Bowl. That's what the motivation's got to be.
Ernie just nailed it in the chat.
Yeah, you could disrespect my mom, my kids, my car, but not Arrowhead. Right.
Ever.
Right. You could disrespect my career, my earnings, everything I've done in my life, how I've lived my life, but never disrespect this building.
Ever.
By the way, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he played the game on one leg. I mean, can we talk about the brilliance of just Mahomes? And he's throwing to you and me, Keith, in the second half. Guys we barely ever heard of. Sky Moore, who was a draft choice and was best known in the regular season for having a number of fumbles on punt returns. So can we just appreciate the brilliance of Patrick Mahomes? And it was a huge win for him because I think he would have taken a hit, rightfully or wrongfully so, if Burrow went in there and marched out with another victory at Arrowhead in Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. I think you would have taken a little hit, and I think if you were a Chief fan, you'd be a little concerned about just the meteoric climb of one Joe Burrow.
Yeah, there are legacy moments, right? Not legacy. When you think of people's careers, there are going to be players that will play professional sports and listen, that's awesome. It's amazing. You've reached the pinnacle. And then there are the people that are trying to be the greats of all time. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes, there is a belief that he is the best QB of this generation, right? And in order to then turn best into great or greatest, you got to win multiple championships and you got to take down your rivals. And whether it is manufactured by the media, whether it is manufactured by Cincinnati, there is a budding rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. And there has to be, whether again it's manufactured or not, there is a budding rivalry, even if they like each other, between Mahomes and Burrow. Because as you stand here right now, they are the two best quarterbacks in the AFC. They have now met 2 times in a row. Burrow had kind of been controlling this matchup between these two. So yeah, when legacies are on the line, and it's weird, Moose, you could tell me if you disagree with me or not, because you might. At 27, right, Mahomes is 27 years old. Am I correct about that?
I think so.
Yeah. At 27 years old, in theory, your legacy should not be on the line, right? Because worst case scenario, Mahomes has 8 more years in the NFL. Let's say he plays till he's 35. Best case scenario till he's 40, right? Like, your legacy should not be defined at 27, but your legacy, as you said, can take a hit at 27.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be right, correct. That's the way you look at it. I think it would have taken a hit. I think it would have been a long offseason. They decided to move on from Tyreek Hill. They don't get to a Super Bowl. It looks a lot different. And Burrow and the Bengals would then be a perfect 4-0 if you lost that game yesterday and you didn't. So I think Mahomes would have taken a hit. He still would have been the MVP of the league. Nobody's doubting the physical gifts, the talents, his smart, everything that goes along with what Patrick Mahomes is as a quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think Burrow would have just added to his legacy, going to back-to-back Super Bowls for Cincinnati, rebuilding that franchise, going into Kansas City twice in back-to-back years and beating Reed, Mahomes, and the Chiefs. You know, it would have been a soul-searching moment for the Kansas City Chiefs franchise about what do we need now to do better in order to beat Joe Burrow. I mean, that's what it was. Now, it didn't happen, didn't play out that way. Kansas City marches on, and we'll see if they end up hoisting up that Vince Lombardi trophy and being Super Bowl champions in a couple weeks.
Yeah, if the Chiefs end up winning the Super Bowl, the conversation about how great Mahomes is going to be off the charts. And I would say very sneakily, Travis Kelce is going to start being in the conversation as maybe the greatest tight end of all time.
Yeah,
and
I think he is.
Right. I was going to say, like, I think that he sort of is already.
Yeah.
But if he gets his second Super Bowl, and let's say he's a big reason why, let's say he has another, 7 catches. What did he go for, 7 and 78 yesterday? Let's say he goes 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs win. I think you'll be able to make a legit argument he's the greatest tight end that's ever laced it up and played.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, I think, and that's it. I mean, and you look for Andy Reid winning a second Super Bowl now, doing it against the franchise that he built up a tremendous amount of success in a city that he loved, with the Philadelphia Eagles too. So there's so many different storylines when you look at it. Jalen Hurts is going to be a guy easy to root for, and the Super Bowl in and of itself is historic too. Because it's the first Super Bowl ever where both starting quarterbacks are African American.
Yep.
When you look at Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, so it's historic on just from the basis before the game even gets kicked off on that level as well. So storylines galore.
Well, you also have it's the first time you're ever having 2 brothers play against each other, and Jason and Travis.
Yeah,
it's literally never happened.
It's just great. My dad and I were talking about the other day. Imagine having like 2 sons that are both athletically gifted enough to be able to play in the National Football League, and they're both going to be Hall of Famers. Kelce, and both Travis and Jason Kelce are both going to be in the Hall of Fame, because Travis I think he's there as being the best tight end the National Football League has ever seen. And Jason Kelce has had an unbelievable career with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, he is an all-time great center.
All right, I'm going to put you in a spot here. All right, so you have 3 sons. Let's just make it 2, okay? 2 of your sons are now in the NHL. Okay. And you've got one on the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one is playing for the New York Rangers. Okay. Rangers are playing Avalanche in the Stanley Cup. What are you doing? How are you rooting? How do you handle it?
I don't know. That's a great question. I'd probably wear a split jersey.
You would, right?
I'd wear a split jersey where represent both of them. And I would just root for them to play great hockey. And however it plays out, it plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, Baby J, that's why I threw that out there just to mess with him a little bit too.
Yeah, I am a Ranger fan. So but at that time, your fandom, your sons take over for any fandom. Like,
do you think
yeah,
you would physically be able to like watch the games? And what I mean by that is, so have you, all right, so your boys have all played in championship games, right?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, yeah, you're very
like
nervous. I don't know.
The nauseous, that knot in your stomach. Like, I never really got that as a player. I always just went out and did it. But I think it's because I was in control of whatever I was able to do. Like, when I watch my boys play sports, and when it's a big game and whether they do well or they don't do well, like, I get this pit in my stomach. Like, I just wish, what is it, Mama Bear or Papa Bear? Like, I wish that I could be helping them do things and do it well. And all you can do is be like, as a dad or a mom or whatever, and be like, all right, I hope I put you in the right spot. Now it's on you. But like, yeah, I feel like I would have that pit in my stomach, and I would be like, I don't know if I could watch. All right, I'll watch. No, I don't know if I could watch. I'll watch.
Yeah. Why? Well, my question is, what would you be doing other than that?
I'd be watching diners, drive-ins, and dives like a marathon.
You could never sit there. You could never sit there. You'd be walking, you'd be pacing, you'd be whatever. And that's not like nowadays, like the game's like 45 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes. You're looking at 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Like, I'd have to watch.
Yeah.
I know I'd watch. Like, I'd sit there and I'd watch the game and root for them to have play. Like I tell them all the time, be good teammates, have fun, do your best, skate your hardest, everything that's it. And, enjoy yourself and play with a passion, enjoy your time on the ice, and be respectful of your opponent, all those things. So I think they go out on the ice. I would have to watch. To answer your question, Keith, long story long, I'd have to watch.
I would watch. I would. I know.
You'd have to watch it.
Yeah. Yes.
You really would. Yeah. We're set with Super Bowl 57. It's Chiefs. It's Eagles out in Glendale, Arizona. We got a lot to get into with that. We'll have you covered soup to nuts in terms of player props, side totals as we inch closer and closer to the big game out there in Arizona. But let's get into a little NBA. Keith's got a little finger roll. Got to react to what happened with LeBron and the Lakers up in Beantown on Saturday night. Dave Sharapan's going to join us at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour as well. It's Moose and Keith with you. An hour down, hour left to play with, rolling right up until high noon right here on the Better Sports Network.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by Fantasy.
Die on air here. Well, no, it's because I'm sitting so much, okay? Anybody thought about that, by the way, Ray? We do all this stuff, and I'm not saying, I'm just wondering. This is how my mind works, Ray. Will our producers, Heather and Josh, like, if I just go, well, like, all of a sudden, will you just go full screen?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's happening. Ray, take it. Yeah.
Are the emergency mechanisms in the booklet that we give our producers what to do if on air, on camera, Kyle passes out or suffers a heart attack?
Yeah, call the ambulance and Ray, keep talking. That's what they would do.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
I think that people have gotten better at fantasy over the years. There's so much information out there that there's not as many casual players anymore. If you're talking casual player, okay, someone who's in an office league and that's their only league and they do it for camaraderie, okay, fine. People have gotten better over the years. Even the casual leagues are more sharp now. There's so much information, they can go anywhere to consume it. They can sit and listen to this show or other shows on this network. There's so many ways to consume content now that the casual players are better. This is not 10 years ago when there wasn't as much. Now it is saturated. You can go anywhere and find information. So if you want to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes out, you can find information. So players are more sharp. You're not going to get players sitting on the waiver wire for 3 weeks like 10 years ago.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla, weeknights at 7 Eastern.
Justin Henry hanging out with Rick Kamla on Better Sports Live. So you have the hat on, Justin, so I presume you are a huge Bengals fan. Oh, you're not a Bengals fan?
Had the bag, the Niners stuff, baby. I just had the hat on. You see the Niners stuff there in the back?
I do.
I'm a Cali guy.
Okay, so you're a 49er fan. So you just like the look of the Bengals hat,
yeah.
or are they your AFC team?
Nah, this is solely a look. I mean, you see the hat. The hat is so clean, man.
It is.
This is one of those must purchases.
I love it. What other hats do you have that are must purchases? Like it just puts the ensemble all together. If you're going with a green look or a red look or a what, like what are those must-have hats?
Yeah, I feel like the Dodgers hat, that blue Dodgers is like a must-have as well. It's just a staple. You got to have a New York, even if you're not from New York, you got to have a Yankee hat in there, that NY. I love the baseball hats too. A lot of the baseball hats, even like the Marlins used to be that Florida Marlins M with the colors used to be dope.
Yep, for sure.
And then football, I really only like the Bengal hat and then the Niners hat. For me, that's love, man. As long as you got a smooth black hat with some white, you can mix it up with the fits. That's what I go for.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network presents Finger Roll with Moose and Keith.
Yes, let's get to a little finger roll, Keith. What do you like? What do you like tonight in the NBA when you take a look at it? 8 games on the NBA slate.
All right, so let's start with the Lakers and the Nets. I think there's storylines here, and Moose, you and I love storylines, right? It's obviously LeBron versus Kyrie. Does LeBron want Kyrie in LA at some point? Are they friends again? Are they not? So the points prop was something I initially dove into for Kyrie Irving, but the best number I could find was 31.5. I'm not going to go there, even though it's a number he's been hitting lately, right? So I want to get closer to even money if I can. I'm going to go minus 118 on FanDuel. I'm going to go with the 3-pointer prop for Kyrie Irving. It's something actually that we've been messing around with over the last 2 weeks. And Moose, we've been having some success with the 3-point props. So 11 3-pointers made in his last 2 games, 4 or more 3-pointers made in 4 of his last 5 games. Kyrie Irving, we go over 3.5. And I'll give you one more piece of information to kind of help this one along. The Lakers are number 2 in pace of play. They're 19th in defensive ranking. Yeah. It means that they're going to be running around a lot, which means the Nets probably will too, and they don't necessarily stop people. So Kyrie Irving to get to 4 feels good.
Yeah, and no LeBron or Anthony Davis tonight.
Yeah, so.
I mean, that helps out the cause as well when you look at it. Yeah, I mean, the Nets are laying 9 tonight at home. So I like that. Good call.
Yeah, and we'll talk some Lakers, Celtics, I think, in just a second. But let's continue along with finger roll. Let's go Kings and Timberwolves. Yep. I thought there were things that we could play in this one too. The looming trade rumors about D'Angelo Russell has not affected Anthony Edwards, who clearly is the guy in Minnesota right now. So how about this? 5 consecutive games, Anthony Edwards has put together games where he's had at least 39 points, rebounds, and assists combined. So let's go with the over of that. At minus 120 is the best number I can find on DraftKings. There was 39.5 as a number on FanDuel, which gets you to about minus 110. So if you don't buying up the one extra statistical addition to it, you get 10 cents better on your bet. I'd rather play it safer and get the 38.5 instead of the 39.5. Here we go again. Pace of play. The Kings are number 11 in pace of play, and the Kings are allowing the 8th most points per game in the NBA. So I think the 38.5, I think Edwards is going to end up around 30-ish points. So if he ends up 30, 31 points, are you telling me that he can't get 7 more statistical categories filled in or 8 more statistical categories filled in with the rebounds and assists? I think he can.
All right. Like that with Anthony Edwards. Remember when people questioned whether or not he cared about basketball when he was coming out of college that one year at Georgia?
Yeah, and he's turned into
I think
awesomeness.
He cares about basketball.
Yeah. How about the fact that he's the youngest player to reach the 500 3-pointers, and he's not even considered a 3-point shooter?
No, I know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely nuts. All right, let's go Warriors and the Thunder. This game does nothing for me, right? I'm like, who cares? Except for gambling. Let's get it involved. How about we go Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And again, there are options here. I would shop this number, 1.5 steals. The best I could find as of about an hour and a half ago, right before we went on the air, was minus 119 at Caesars. I honestly didn't check yet. We can check it really fast while I'm talking. If anything else has popped up, we'll do that. But if we go over 1.5 steals for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm refreshing, I'm pressing, and BetMGM has, nope, minus 125. So we're going to stay on Caesars. So minus 119 at over 1.5 steals for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Back-to-back games that he's had 2 steals. 2 or more steals, 4 of his last 5 games. 2 or more steals, 6 of his last 9 games. Both of these teams will get out and move. There are going to be turnovers to be had. Shai's going to get you your 2 steals.
Beautiful. Love that. So what's the best number right now? It's
minus 119. So, I mean, it's not the juiciest number. It's not the best. Again, I'm trying to find some stuff. Like, I could just continue to tell you everything is points or rebounds. So I'm trying to mix it up for everybody.
All right, so over 1.5 steals for SGA, Warriors Thunder. All right, how about Wizards Spurs?
Yeah, this is my last play for you. And Bradley Beal, they're starting to ramp up his minutes. I'm still afraid of the points in this one. Depending on what book you're looking at, it was around 21.5. No, thank you. So I'm going to go to the 3-pointers here. And I'm getting plus 122 on FanDuel for Bradley Beal to get 2 3-pointers or more, over 1.5. Now, he's had 2 or more 3-pointers in 3 of his last 4 games. Spurs, 8th in pace of play. The Spurs, worst defense in the NBA, giving up over 122 points per game. They also allow the highest 3-point percentage against them, and they give up the 10th most 3-pointers per game against them as well. So Bradley Beal, and listen, if you want to go Kuzma, you want to find a Kuzma prop, I wouldn't be mad at you. But Beal, the value here for over 1.5 at plus 122, as long as he plays like 22 minutes tonight, and he will, barring anything catastrophic, I think this is a slam dunk. This is my favorite play of the night.
All right, so you like Beal over 1.5 threes, SGA over 1.5 steals, Edwards over 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and Kyrie Irving over 3.5 threes as the Nets entertain the LeBron-less Los Angeles Lakers in Brooklyn.
And I would tell you my least favorite play is the Kyrie one. And the only reason I would say that is because if the Nets get up by 20 early, Kyrie could, he might take his foot off the gas. Maybe he's not playing as much. Maybe he's not shooting as much. So I would do that one with trepidation. You got to hope with the Kyrie one that he gets the 4 3-pointers in the first half.
Now, what award do you think LeBron should deserve for the acting that he put on Saturday night? And I understand he was fouled. Dropping to his knees, 45 seconds. Like an NBA championship was decided. It's a January Saturday night.
I'm a LeBron apologist, right? You know this. I am. Yeah. That looked silly. Like, I mean, come on. It was silly. Like, he didn't have to do all of that. It wasn't about that. You know what? I almost feel like we should have just had Adnan Virk call in just to rate that performance and then hang up because he does Cinephile Pod. Yeah, I don't know.
He's already won a Razzie because they made the awful remake of Space Jam, which was terrible. Even my son looked at the LeBron James Space Jam and was like, Michael's is better. I go, yes, it is. And I watched both of them. It's a terrible movie. But that's where we are right now. It's not just a knock on LeBron. It's just a knock on Hollywood because all we do now is just take old movies and just remake them and rebrand them and thank honky dory instead of kind of trying to come up with some new ideas. But that's what it is. And listen, LeBron's great. Do I need to see him weeping on the court up in Boston?
It was excessive.
It's too much. And I know he was fouled. I understand that. But how many times? I mean, that's the problem you have with the NBA now is guys are just screaming. You see with Luka, you see with LeBron, you see it with James Harden, you see with a lot of guys.
Tim Duncan was the worst with that, though.
Duncan did it as well. I'm not telling you, but you see it more and more now of guys just screaming and barking at the official like everything is a foul. Everything is a foul. I mean, you used to have guys basically bleeding in the NBA in the 80s and 90s. I mean, blood was spilled on the court. And now LeBron gets tapped on the forearm and he's dropping to his knees on the court. Like he deserves an Academy Award. I get it was a foul. You didn't get the call. Go win the game in overtime.
I'm going to cite my guy, Justin Termody, SiriusXM NBA radio. I used to work with him all the time over at Sirius. Yeah, Justin's the best. We actually should get Justin on the show.
Yeah, Justin would.
Yeah, Justin's awesome. So he reposted a video from Worldwide Wob, and it was the video of LeBron after the game. I watch basketball every single day. I watch these games every single day. I don't see it happening to anybody else. It's weird. LeBron, long piece. We don't need to play the sound. Termody retweeted it and wrote this, and it's good. The refs missed a LeBron foul on Durant with 10 seconds left in Game 2 of the 2012 NBA Finals on what would have been a game-tying shot and could have put OKC up 2-0 in the series. Last night was a foul, but LeBron is no victim. He's benefited more than not and in much bigger spots.
Yeah. That's where, well said. I concur. I concur.
Again, I'm a LeBron apologist. I know I'm a LeBron apologist. I've routinely been a LeBron apologist. I didn't have a problem with him being upset.
Oh, just too much.
I got hit. You could jump up like this. You could go over to the official. Like, even rather than make it the spectacle, like this. And that's what it was. It was a spectacle. Let me make it a spectacle. Let the world know exactly.
We're all in this look at me society now.
I know.
Look at me. We see it on social media. Look what dumb thing I'm doing next.
Yep.
Look at me. I'm about to eat 30 hot peppers. Stare at this video for the next 90 seconds. Like, it's all look at me. Like, if you're LeBron, you're unbelievable. You're an all-time great. Do you think Larry would be dropping to his knees? Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Dominique? I mean,
no, they would have punched the ref in the face.
I mean, do you think that would be happening? No, it would not be happening.
It's actually not that difficult to get angry at a ref. Like, you can yell at a ref. You can.
Yes.
You can mother bleep the ref. Like, you can do all that stuff.
LeBron,
but the history,
that non-foul call cost him Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
I know.
The game still went to overtime.
I mean, they also blew the Patrick Beverly call because he didn't foul Jaylen Brown either. That wasn't. I mean, when the 2-minute report. I mean,
no, it was not a well officiated.
Like the Cincinnati Bengals game, it was a poorly officiated game.
No doubt. You could be upset and you could say, that was terrible. It was a bad non-call. Of course, I don't need to see the video again either. For the LeBron apologists out there, stop retweeting the video. Like, I don't need to see Tatum hitting him on his – like, I've seen it. I've seen the skin move. I don't need to break it down like the Zapruder film. I understand he got fouled. I get it. Like, he's an all-time great. Like, what more support does LeBron James possibly need? Like, I get it. I understand. Don't embarrass yourself up in Boston, though.
I mean, that's what it was. It was kind of embarrassing.
For a better part of a minute, and you're like, on the court, inconsolable.
Yeah. Yeah, I was waiting for a Cleveland. This is for you.
Right. Like that, I can understand why he dropped to the court.
Yeah,
like the pressure that was on him to deliver a championship to Cleveland was more than you and I or anybody listening to us right now could possibly imagine. So that release, you totally get it. You totally understand it. Now, Patrick Beverly, Saturday night made no sense. Now, Patrick Beverly going on the court with the camera. Look. Like Patrick, like I had Frank Gasol on last night on Picks, and he was like, Patrick Beverly acts like this is like basically every night is like just a pickup game. Like there's no rules that he goes, he should have been thrown out of the game. Like, you can't be going to grab a cameraman's camera and going up to the ref and showing him that. Like, you can't be doing that. He got teed up in the game. We get it was a foul. It was hilarious. Like, Patrick Beverly at this stage of his career just does not care. Right?
What's the shame of it, too, is it was a great game.
Oh, it's great.
If you actually watch the game, it was a fantastic game. Lakers had a chance. And that's what they do. They tantalize you, right? Like, that Lakers squad on Saturday night, if healthy, makes you believe, they might be able to win a series in the playoffs. They could get to the playoffs and win a series, and then you never know. But then you ruin it with Beverly and LeBron doing what they're doing. And then, like you said, now LeBron and AD. Is anybody else out tonight? Did you see? I didn't see.
No, I just saw those two. I don't think so. I think everyone else.
So they're basically just waving the white flag and saying we're going to lose tonight when you need wins?
Well, they're in the Garden tomorrow night.
Okay. Great.
Oh no, I know. I think
how much you say LeBron over under 37.5 points for LeBron tomorrow night in the Garden?
I take
probably over, right?
Yeah, I take the over.
Yeah, I think
because I think he likes putting on a show at the Garden.
Exactly.
Just like Kobe did. Like, I was there that night at the Garden when Kobe put on a show against the Knicks. I was there that night when LeBron, this is going back way back when LeBron put on a shooting bonanza at the Garden. Like, guys like coming to Michael liked to do it. all-time greats look at it, and non-Knick fans joke around and call it, mock it as they call it the Mecca, because the Knicks have not won an NBA championship since the early 70s, and they've been more of a laughingstock than anything else. But I think if for basketball stars and for players, there is a special quality to playing at Madison Square Garden, with the history of what basketball has meant to New York City, and putting on, a show for, what is more than likely a star-studded audience at MSG.
Will you be at the game tomorrow?
I will not be. No.
Okay. What? Star-studded. I figured there's a chance you'd be there.
No,
Maybe you're hanging out with Floyd Mayweather.
No. I'll be at the Pick Studios tomorrow.
Yeah, but what's your guy? Can't you get your guy? Get your guy.
Courtside. No, those not. I got the call to go see Knicks Spurs a couple weeks ago. I was like, Gary, I appreciate the offer. I just can't.
What's his name? Courtside Gary? What's his name?
Courtside Gary. Yeah, that's his name's Gary. I call.
Does Gary want me to hang out with him?
Gary would love you. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell Courtside Gary if you want to take me to the Knicks Lakers game tomorrow night.
Gary is like straight out of Hollywood, like character New Yorker.
What's he drink? I'll buy him a beer. I'll get him some food. No.
Like Courtside Gary, the last game I went to, had shoes because of a conversation he had with RJ Barrett during pregame warmups. And RJ was like, I like the shoes that you have. And so Courtside Gary has a guy that he knows that makes shoes for him, right, in Knick colors. So he had RJ Barrett, found out his shoe size, and had shoes made for RJ Barrett. They're like these beautiful kind of shoes. I don't know. And he gave them to him during the pregame warm-ups. It's just insane. Like,
you tell Courtside
he's a guy that knows a guy. Everyone knows a guy. Like Courtside Gary is one of those where, like, hey, I need a plumber. I know a guy. I need a guy. I need a mechanic. I know a guy. I need a roofer. I know a guy. He always knows a guy. I know nobody except
size 12, and I like to show off shoes on television. Just saying. Tell it Courtside Gary.
I'll let him know. All right. Okay, you got it.
Man, Courtside Gary and I can go to the Knicks game tomorrow night.
Yes.
I'll go with him.
I don't think those tickets are not available. It's Knicks Lakers.
I know.
That seat is not.
No, I know.
I know you are. If I could get you in the building, I would.
Yeah. That'd be nuts.
I can't pull those strings, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you thinking I'm on that kind of level.
I mean, I do. I think that you're a super uber star.
We got to get Jessica on board.
Yeah, I don't know where she is. I mean, she's, shirking her duties today.
Yeah, Sharapan's going to join us at the bottom of the hour.
What do you think he's going to be wearing today? Eagles?
Yes.
Nah, Eagles or Chiefs? What do you got? What do you think?
Eagles.
Yeah, I think Eagles he'll go Eagles. Maybe he might even have his Joe Burrow stuff there just in case, like if we switch. You know how he likes to switch costumes?
Maybe he does that, yeah. He'll have his Burrow glasses. Couple notes before we get on to betting on brand. And then is number one, Kellen Moore out in Dallas.
The number 4 offense in football.
Number 2, the report from Schefter yesterday that the Packers would prefer to move on from Aaron Rodgers. It is happening. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up – I think it's going to be either the Jets or the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think so. I'm with you. The only thing about the Jets is if you're Aaron Rodgers, do you want to continue doing everything Brett Favre did? Save for sending pictures to people, but otherwise.
No, true. But if you win, if you ever win a Super Bowl with the Jets, and you have Joe Namath saying he could wear my number 12,
you think he really would? You think he really would wear 12?
I do not.
Nobody would wear. What did he wear? What did he wear in college?
I thought if I had to guess, I thought he wore 3 or 8 at Cal.
Let's see. 8. You're right. 8.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore is 8 right now.
Elijah Moore is 8.
I think you could buy that off of him.
I think you could buy that off Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Maybe Moore goes to another thing, but yeah, I don't know. I think Rodgers. So those are a couple of things to keep an eye on when you're looking at the National Football League. We mentioned it. The Bengals defensive coordinator is going to be interviewing with the Arizona Cardinals for their head coaching position. It looks like D'Amico Ryans, the 49ers DC, is the favorite to be the Houston Texans coach. And now all of a sudden reports out of New Orleans is that it's not going to cost you just one number one. It's going to cost you 2 ones to get Sean Payton. That kind of changes the course of the conversation.
They don't want Payton coaching this year.
Yeah, they don't want Payton coaching. And I don't think there's a team out there. I love Sean Payton as a coach. Who doesn't? That's going to give you 2 number one draft choices for Sean Payton for a head coach. Maybe that's wrong, but
yeah,
who knows? Let's get to Jessica betting on brand time. See what her thoughts were, how her championship weekend was or championship Sunday was. Good morning, Jessica. How are you?
Good morning, Moose. Good morning, Keith. You got
hey.
Yeah. How are y'all doing this week?
Amazing.
Well.
Did you hear the parlay that I hit? My plus 850.
I did not hear in full about that. That's fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah. So I gave it out on Friday and then gave it out on tops as well. We had the Eagles on the money line. We had the game total under. We had Kenneth Gainwell 11 or more rushing yards and Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown plus 850. It actually was plus 900, moved to plus 850.
Nice. Yeah, I was watching the Gainwell one. I'm like, oh, wait, Keith's got that big one on the yards. I saw him rip off that 17 one on the outside zone. I was like, oh.
Yep. Also got Christian McCaffrey's longest rush of over 15 and a half. And I can tell you this, I will be taking a look at all the Chiefs runners to figure out which one of them will be my longest rush. Because if there's anything you can mark down against the Eagles, they will give away at least one long run in every game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll look at that on explosive rates. That is an interesting proposition.
21 times this year, they've given up a run of 16 yards or more. It's actually more like middle of the pack anyway, but it is something they do often.
Excellent. So
what do you got for us?
That is fascinating, though. I like that. So I have a few plays that came to mind today. So let's talk. Some of these might not be available in your state, but if they're not in New York, come down to New Jersey for a little bit, get some Taylor ham. Have some fun.
Oh, who doesn't enjoy a little Taylor ham?
I know,
What?
right?
So Taylor ham is known as what else? It's Canadian bacon? No. What do you call it? It's 2 names for Taylor ham.
Pork roll is the other.
Pork roll. That's it. Pork roll. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Taylor ham's the Canadian name. Pork roll is the Jersey name.
All right, then I'll go pork roll. Let's go New Jersey. New Jersey and the pork roll.
Jessica, let's get. What do you like tonight? What can we take advantage of tonight?
All right. So what I like to see is that we have a great opportunity, in my opinion, of first half opportunities between Baylor and Texas. First half over 67.5. Your best option right now for that is Barstool. It's probably that in other states. That's right now Barstool's at minus 116. That number is good through minus 125 if you can get that elsewhere. I think the books. I know that number's coming down a little bit right now, but it should be okay. I really think I have Baylor projected at about 38 points. I expect Texas to get about around in that range. So again, that's pretty good if you're going at 67.5 by my model. So you're at plus 116 compared to what my model has it as. It's actually between a little bit worse than minus 130. So that's about 5% expected value, which means for every $100 we bet on that, we'd expect to make $5 in profit on average.
Your number is what? What number did you get? I'm sorry.
Oh, so I had. There's a sec. So I saw a minus 106 on Barstool right now, actually, which is nice.
All right, so for over 67.5.
So this is 68 now. It changed.
All right, so I can give you for the more national ones that you can bet on in our neck of the woods, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Caesars has it at minus 110 for over 68.5. Bet Rivers, you can go minus 116 for over 67.5.
Yeah, we take that. That one's good.
Okay.
Yeah, the second one's good. So we have a few more that just came out according to my system here. DraftKings, a lot of people have DraftKings, so that's nice. Plus 140 on, this one's a little less probable, but plus 140 on Texas Tech, Iowa State under 126.5. That is plus 122.
Okay.
And you're getting plus 140, so you're getting a little bit under 8% expected value on that. Real nice like that. And if you, it still works if you get it under 127. Check and see if you can get that at plus 135. That's fine. That's still there. Texas Tech and Iowa State. Again, if you can get that 127.5 at DraftKings plus 125, that's fine too. I have that closer to plus 110. So that's really good value there, in my opinion. So those are my plays of the days, really, for college basketball. And there's always ones you can get from college basketball because there are so many teams that wind up working. Like, I had a wonderful weekend. All my spread picks hit, all my money line picks hit, and I had a play that came out like So Circus Sports, they had a play where predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl and who's going to win the matchup. And I have a tweet saying that I'm going to pick Philly over Eagles, plus 1450. One pick that hits. If Philly wins this week, that's 1450 win. So.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
Very happy with that.
Jessica,
right.
you're the best. We appreciate it. We'll
right,
chat with you
thanks.
again tomorrow. Good luck with all your plays. All right, Jessica?
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you guys. Stay well.
You got you as well. There you have it. That's
Betting on brand, Jessica G Brand on social media.
no doubt about it. Want to remind everybody, if you had a rough weekend with playoff fantasy football and NFL betting, you can rant about it. Tonight on Monday Night Rants, join Edward Rouse to talk about all the memorable moments, top performances, and busts from the NFL playoffs, NBA, and more. Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse tonight at 7 Eastern on the Better Sports Network app and bettersports.com. We good?
Yeah, we're all good. Yeah. They were having some behind the scenes stuff going on. While you were doing the read, I was texting with Ernie. Okay. Everything is good. Sharapan is coming up. Yes. I think he's going to love my jersey. I think you're wrong. I think this is a fantastic jersey. I think he's going to wish he
I just
owned
don't think Eagles outside of the patch that you have on your left shoulder. I know it's Dawkins. Who doesn't love Brian Dawkins? It's great. I get it. Yes. I thought you were going to start twerking.
No, ew. Whoa. What is going on here?
I have no idea. I was like, what? I know it's Brian Dawkins. I believe
you. Whoa.
Yes. We'll come back. Sharapan will join us. We'll get his thoughts.
What is going on?
Championship Sunday. Look ahead to Super Bowl 57. It's Moose and Keith right here on the Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Your 2023 prediction on the promo that we play was the Lakers was going to make the playoffs and beat somebody in the first round.
Hey, I hope we match up against Memphis.
That's not going to happen.
I hope we match up against Memphis.
And you'll get swept.
Ain't no way we get swept.
Sweep them. The Memphis Grizzlies would be swept. They would be laughing at them.
If the Grizzlies if the Lakers make the playoffs with AD healthy, Westbrook off the bench, and LeBron, everybody's healthy, they will beat the Memphis Grizzlies 100%.
We will be on Lucra betting on that game right
100%.
now. All right, Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Compete in the games you play and the sports you watch with Lucra. Download the Lucra app right now to create a contest and bet against your friends in as little as 15 seconds. Use the promo code BSM when you sign up to receive a free $5 to play with. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better.
Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
Moose and Keith on Better Sports Network.
Yo, we are back. I'm scrolling through some social media here. Is this Mr. Beast stuff really true? The curing 1,000 people of blindness? You know who Mr. Beast is? Moose, I know you're back now. Do you know who Mr. Beast is?
Yes.
Is this him curing people of blindness thing true? Is this a real story? You see this?
I did not. No, I did not see the link.
So there was a story trending, and Better Sports Network just actually posted something about it. And I can't tell if they're being facetious or not. So
I don't think he's 24 years old. How is he curing people?
Well, he's got a lot of money,
right?
And I don't know if he. So I just don't want this to turn into one of those Achilles moments for me. So I'm asking the question.
I have no idea.
Okay.
He makes, I have no idea. I'm not sure. He makes videos that gets watched by hundreds of millions of people.
Right, and he just gives out money and he
like crashes cars and stuff like that. Like
Dave Sharapan's here. Do you know Mr. Beast?
I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, I bet you your girls know who Mr. Beast is.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, so they
know everything.
Big social media person. I think he might come from money, and then his social media channels, YouTube, everything blew up. He does these things where he just randomly give people money, and he does a lot of nice stuff. Okay, here we go. We got an update. Basically, paid for a lot of procedures. Not a bad thing. All right, so he's paying. He's using his own money to help people who are blind get these procedures that apparently cure them of blindness.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
He's helping. That's great. He's
Yeah.
helping people who need it. That's awesome.
All right.
Dave, can I ask you?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
How great is this jersey? Look. Brian Dawkins, baby.
Wow.
Brian Dawkins. Look at that.
Wow.
The only thing that would make it better is if you were wearing it with those baby blues, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Forgot about that throwback. Yeah, they didn't. That one didn't last long, but that's beautiful.
Right? I mean, so Moose hates it.
Oh well.
Says it's awful.
I don't love it.
Awful, Moose?
I just don't think like it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Dave, let's go.
Like you posted a video about the Penguins wearing like the blues and stuff like that. Like, you know, like you think about the Pittsburgh Penguins now, you think about the gold, the black, and the gray.
I understand, but the origin was blue. 3 shades of blue for the 3 rivers of Pittsburgh.
Well,
and that was my first uniform. I remember being so mad when they switched to black and gold. It made sense, but I thought it was cool to be different. And then when they switched, they went on a losing streak. They were rolling that year. And then all of a sudden, I think they lost 8 of 9. And then it kind of became like, all right, the Penguins really haven't been good. Maybe they do need to be black and gold because the Pirates were good. The Steelers were good. The whole world revolved around the state of Pennsylvania back then, Moose. I don't know if you remember this. Steelers and Pirates won the championships in 79.
But now, do a lot of people in Pittsburgh now walk around with those blue jerseys?
Well, they brought them back.
I know for the outdoor game,
outdoor classic,
right?
And now they mix them in every once in a while during the season.
Yeah,
and yeah, they walk. I mean, I don't know if they walk around. I mean, they do walk around in Pittsburgh in gear all the time. It's kind of a uniform. It just everyone understands, you know, like that. Like, I don't know how many people in Philly walk around with that jersey on, though, KI.
Yeah.
I don't think many people do.
I've had this jersey for a while.
Yeah. It fits. I mean, obviously it fits because you're working out nonstop. So it still fits. It's at least 10 years old and it still fits. I know. Just working the shoulders right now while you're talking to us. What are you doing?
I did a little shrug, a couple shrugs in, you know?
Oh, shrugs.
I was hitting heavy hang snatches the other day, you know?
I don't even know what that means.
Exactly. Hey, how's your planking going?
Planks are, I like planks. I actually don't mind planks, but when do you start the time? What is it?
So what you do it. So the easiest way to do it would be take your phone, put it down on the mat, like right where you're about to go. Have your timer there, and then when you go on the one hand here, just as you're about to put the other hand down, click your timer button, and now go.
Planking on your forearms.
So there's variations. Yes, you could do it on your forearms.
Yeah.
Don't hold your hands like that. Honestly, it's kind of cheating. So do it like this.
Like this.
You could do it like this. Some people will say that you like pinkies into the ground, thumbs up. You also can do it at the top of it, like a fully extended, like a push-up. Yeah.
Probably should have been a personal trainer. I mean, you do such a good job with all this.
I was a
stuff.
CrossFit. I was a CrossFit level 1 trainer, and I was a CrossFit Kids trainer.
This makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I was doing that for fun, just for fun on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. This you training, you know, grown men like myself, like Moose, would be one thing, but you would kill it. I mean, kill it with the women. Do you understand? Jessica, Donna, they would all come to your class.
No doubt.
If you could get the right mix,
yeah,
I would recommend you. We could forget about it. If
your
things go bad, I already have the next business.
Well, no, you could do it. You could do it. Add another layer of money coming in. That's what you could do as well.
So,
my goodness, this is such a.
You could do that on the side.
So it will be fun.
Yeah,
I'll throw it out there. Let's see what kind of connections you guys both have.
What?
Let's try to get me to guest instruct a Peloton class.
Like the actual Peloton?
Yeah, really on Peloton. You think that we can make this happen?
Why don't we just put something together on the island for like 8 people first? Like, what are you always shooting for the top for? Like, just
because why don't you shoot for the top?
Well, no, you shoot
Have you
for the
met
top.
me, but like, do you know me?
Moose, like, tell them you got to like take the steps first. I mean,
No,
if we do a thing with, you know, on the island where you know some people,
we got to build ourselves up.
We ain't got to
No.
worry about the Peloton thing. You know
No.
what I mean?
No, we go straight up national, big time. International, big time.
Okay.
Listen, when I joined up with Better Sports
305.
Network, when I joined up with Better Sports Network, the guy that I'm working with, right? You see him here, with the hat right now.
Yeah.
Is he some like 19-year-old, intern? No, he's a well-respected broadcaster that I wanted to be partnered with, right? Well, his hat's slanted,
That's not what Donna says.
Listen,
it's not what Jessica says
Yeah.
either about me. I'm in that same club, Moose.
and I'll do that too. When I'm talking gambling, when I need to go to like my go-to guy, do I go to a guy that has just started this, or do I go to the person that's been, doing the books for the last 30 years and that used to live in Curacao? Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I only surround myself with greatness, and that's why I only strive for greatness.
Wow.
Love it.
I didn't even see that one coming, Moose. That one hit me a little bit like a left, but I liked it. I'm an
We gotta make
honest
that
human
happen.
being.
That would be great. We got to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna teach a
Got to make a lot of things happen. I'm working on coming back. If you looked at the plane tickets, it's a little bit of an issue right now. It's a little
Everything's flying's expensitive right now.
Everything's
Yeah.
expensive.
a little bit much.
Everything's priced.
You better hit those Super Bowl numbers.
Yeah, when's
I was
everything
out
gonna
yes- I was
when's
out
everything gonna
yesterday
come
doing
down
that.
in terms of ticket prices?
2029.
Oh, whoa.
Uh,
That's way too. Come on.
Sorry.
Stop.
Sorry.
Better
Hopefully
be in the
that's-
spring. Let's get through.
Yeah, I
Let's
know.
get through the winter right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
What was your take on what we saw yesterday in Championship Sunday?
Wow. I absolutely take nothing from the NFC Championship. It's an unfortunate situation. Purdy gets hurt. The best tweet I saw yesterday was from a guy named Jagger Noir, Noir, who said that Josh Johnson has played for 13 NFL teams, and amazingly, him playing against the Eagles is not a revenge game. I thought that was really clever. That was really funny. But there's nothing to take from that. There's zero. Just congratulations, Eagles. We have a Super Bowl with them in it. The AFC Championship, man, I don't know about you guys. It's just unfortunate that it has to be decided with so many flags on one team and not the other. I mean, it just comes down to like one of those.
Did you see Moose's open to the show?
I did not. I was busy doing some other stuff. What did I miss?
Bit of a rant. Moose should be on your side there.
I mean, you can't decide a championship on a penalty. You
can't.
And I understand. I get that by the letter of the law that it was the hit was late. It was not this egregious helmet to helmet hit. It was not head hunting. It was a push in the back. Felt terrible for Osai afterward. But if you're the ref there who made, and the crew last night in Kansas City embarrassed themselves in the last 10.5 minutes of that game. I mean, it was just a complete and utter joke. It really did, to where let the conspiracy theories ramp up that, that it's rigged, that they want the Kansas City in the Super Bowl, everything that you hear about it, which I don't believe, Dave. You don't believe, Keith doesn't believe, nobody out there believes. I think the National Football League, I know it's on the level. There is the integrity of it. You lose the integrity. This is not the World Wrestling, this is not the WWE.
No.
But you can't.
By the way,
make that
guys,
call.
no spoiler alerts. I did not finish Royal Rumble yet, and somehow I've managed to figure out to not know who won Royal Rumble. When the boys get home from school today, we have like 45 minutes left in Royal Rumble. We will finish that.
I will not tell you.
We ran out of time Saturday night, so please do not ruin this for me.
We'll not say that. But here, like you can't make that call, Dave. You can't make that call. You cannot throw that penalty.
But there were other calls and stuff that were made as well, where it was like, "What are we doing? What are we?"
I understand, but Dave, that call decided the game. The call decided the game. There wasn't a 5-yard. It put them into field goal range. It made what was going to be a 60-yard attempt a 45-yard attempt.
What about the Eli Apple hold before? On third down and long.
Well, how about the
25 yards
non-play?
down?
How about the non-play?
How about the non-play like that? So
I've never seen that before.
Never. That's what I'm saying. There were things that wasn't just the one play. It was that one, you could say it decided the game, but there were so many other calls that decided the game to put it in that last play for a guy to touch a guy going out of bounds, running at a high level. What are you supposed to do in that situation? He didn't. I don't really think it was. He was running fast. And if you've ever been on an NFL sideline, which I believe both of you have, I have, you can't stop.
No.
Like, just because the guy puts his foot on a white spot outside the green, okay, he's there, stop. I'm running like a missile. I didn't, take his head off. There's a level of running into a guy and the penalty being thrown. I don't think the burden of proof was there for me. If it was, it was my case, I would have been like, get up, you're fine. Like, we're not calling this right now. So, but then you look at the basketball game on Saturday night when I was in the book with the Lakers and the Celtics, and then LeBron went to the hole. He got clearly whacked on the arm, and they didn't call it. And that ended up deciding the game. And so it's that much more, I think, scrutinized under a microscope. And people keep saying, oh, it's because of the gambling. It's always been like this.
Right.
It's not because of the gambling. Nobody cares about the gambling. It's not. It has nothing to do with whether they covered the spread, won on the money line, the game goes over, under. It's all coincidence. You just got to get the calls right, guys, right? That's my whole thing.
Yeah, I want to stick with a betting theme here. So a lot of people are all on this, remember when Kyler Murray got hurt three plays in, sites were refunding, right? So again, social media, sometimes the dregs of our society, everyone is talking about like everything with Brock Purdy. Oh, refund me this, refund me that. Like, so from a standpoint of the business of these apps, I understand, and Moose and I talked about it. Like, we understood why they were doing refunds, whether you agreed with it or not. Sure. But it does open this Pandora's box of now people saying, well, Brock Purdy was the fifth leg in my parlay to have 200 or more passing yards, and he only had one arm in the second half, so give me my money back. Like, how would you respond to that?
We're going to address this on the Bostonian versus the book today. Listen, I'm from that old school, like, you make a bet, you win or you lose.
Yeah.
However you got there, it is what it is. You take that risk when you take the bet. You take that risk when you make the bet. We're both in an understanding that that's it. Now, the marketing cost of giving it back, I understand that too. I understand why some books do it. But my beef was when they started doing this, when this became legal elsewhere, outside, because my days in Curacao, it never would have happened. Okay? It never would have happened with your local guy.
Yeah.
None of that happened.
Oh.
So then it comes to Vegas. It still wouldn't happen. And then it became legal elsewhere, first there in New Jersey, and then it starts to spread. And the people that are doing it have a different point of view. And that's okay, because the business is still the business. But now, when you do it once, it becomes expected. And it becomes that slippery slope. It don't know where to put the line. And every time it happens now, oh, well, that was a big game. Now we have real handle on this. Because a lot of times when they do it, it's on something that doesn't have that much handle. And it's like, oh, we'll be the good guys. We'll give it back to all the people. We'll tell everybody we gave it back to all the people, and we'll look better. But it's not really that big of amount of money. And you're just giving them, you're paying them with their own money anyway. And they're going to rebet it most of the time. It's the NFC Championship. This was one of the biggest handle weekends of the entire year. There's only 2 games and everyone bets on it. So everybody bets more because there's no more football until Super Bowl Sunday. And then after that, it's an abyss.
Yeah, I mean, listen, betting is hard. I mean, no matter what it is, no matter what
We
sport
should
it
put
is,
that
it's
on a
hard.
T-shirt.
Right,
Yeah.
it is. I mean,
I'm in.
right, and it's difficult to win. It's
Betting
difficult
is
to hit.
hard. Hitting a parlay is harder. Boom.
Yeah, well, that's
Huh.
it. Let's brand it Better Sports Network. That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
so
I'm in.
like the idea of now in this whole, I feel like sometimes we're in the world of everyone gets a trophy. No, there are winners and losers. I mean, in all due respect,
Oh,
like there just is. Like, and I'm not telling you not to be a good teammate or anything like that, but like when my little league team wasn't celebrated when we went winless during a T-ball season and given a trophy. No, my team was terrible. We all knew as a team that we were a terrible baseball team. So like, I didn't need a trophy. I didn't need to celebrate that year. Like, we were awful. Right. So I understood that as like a 9-year-old, as an 8-year-old, whatever it might be. I knew we were a bad baseball team. Like, sometimes you catch a break and sometimes you don't. So like we talked about the time, and Keith, you and I think Dave chatted about, we understand why you're doing it as a business, but as Dave just mentioned, it is a slippery slope. Like, once a bet is made, like, listen, if I go to Belmont, I go to the Meadowlands. I was out at the Meadowlands yesterday, right at FanDuel Sport.
Speaking of which, remind me, because I want to ask you what you were doing, because I thought you were on a sulky. With the way you posted that picture, I said, "Oh my God, Moose is driving a horse."
No, so I was
gotta
at the
be there
Meadowlands
for that.
yesterday. If I bet a horse in a harness race and he breaks like 3 strides out of the basically the gate, right? And
Are you asking for a refund?
If I go to the thing and say, "Can I get a refund? My horse broke," they'd be like, "What are you talking about? Once the gates open, the bet is live." I mean,
they'll say more. They'll say more than that.
Yeah, there might be some choice words. Yes.
Yeah, once the car pulls away, that's it. Once the gates open to the thoroughbred race, that's it. Like, the bet is live, whether you win, lose. I mean, it's live.
It's also why, and I know Jessica was just saying this in there, and it was my point with the Kyler Murray stuff too, was what if that Kyler Murray injury that 3 plays in, what if I bet unders for everything for him that day?
Yeah.
So now
What are you going to get penalized? You should win.
No. So ideally, the business decision is pay the unders, refund the overs.
Okay. All right. That's what I want to double check.
I mean, how do you not pay the guys that won?
That's right?
worse.
Okay.
If you refund everybody, you don't pay the winners. What the hell are we doing? What are you? You're a marketing company. You're not a sports betting company.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, I got more response from Friday in mentioning Cosby's and stuff and the jerseys, and somebody, an old timer, sent me a thing that said there was a candy store and Peppermint Park ice cream when you used to walk in. He said he used to get those orange slices. Do you remember those orange?
I remember the orange slices.
Yeah, that you had to pick out of your teeth in the second period.
They
when
just
you were
got
in the
stuck.
game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, but you had them for the whole day. It was great.
Terrible,
terrible for your teeth, but amazing for the day.
And they were delicious.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
absolutely delicious. So, Moose, you were out at the track, just kind of partaking in the day and all this stuff. Have you ever sat in a sulky and like been behind that horse?
I did a broadcaster's charity race. I've done it twice.
Is it scary as it looks?
They fly around the track. Yeah.
Oh.
And now I'm with a driver, right? They're not riders, they're drivers. So I'm with a driver who's handling the horse. Like they would, and most of the horses that you put on there are kind of like retired or older or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But they're flying. You're going like 30 miles an hour. You feel the dirt kicking into your face. They give you goggles. It's awesome. It's a great experience.
Absolutely need video of this, Keith.
Oh,
Yeah,
I have one where my horse finished last, and the track announcer Ken Workington goes on the backside. I forget who was winning the race, and he's like, "And Moose is in 4th place. The Moose is not loose on this Saturday night."
That's I was going to say it just now. Moose did not get loose.
Dave, what's your early impressions of Super Bowl 57, the line and the total?
Oh, it's perfect. I mean, this is going to be great. We're going to have 2 weeks of talk of the brothers Kelsey, the Mahomes, the Jalen Hurts story. It's perfect. So, I mean, I was watching it. We did a Twitter Spaces live last night. Me and Matt, we got on while the lines were coming up. I was trading texts with people before they put it up. I was getting that like there's certain times of the year or certain things that happen where I like miss being in the room. Opening the number for Super Bowl Sunday is the best. But I remember it when there was no prior number. Like, now the week before you put up every possible matchups with a number and a total. So everybody knows what it is. You just have to decide, is it the same after you've watched the games be played?
Right.
And I think, again, I would take nothing from the Philadelphia and San Francisco 49er game, but I would take a lot from the Chiefs game against the Bengals. They're beat up. They're going to need the time to get healthy. So they had to beat a dog, in my opinion. I would have argued, listen, find the top on Sunday night when we open it up. If we got to go to 2.5, let's go to 2.5. 3 is the danger zone. You can't put out a number on the game with the biggest handle of the year and possibly get sided 2 weeks before. You can't, so that you see the hesitation of you can't put up 3. But some books open pick, some books open KC small favorite -1. And then they all homogenize to the same line. And miraculously, when you wake up on Monday morning, every book in the country has Philadelphia -2 and the total's 50. It is really funny how that happens. I mean, I know how it happens, but it's just amazing to me that there's not a book or a guy anywhere in the world that wants to go, let's put up 1 and stay there and see what happens. Because the bots, the betting groups, all this other stuff, they just bet you to the same number. Everybody drifts to the same number. It's interesting. I saw a guy in the book, though, Moose, on Sunday or Saturday night, shared with me his ticket, $10,000 on the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl at 25-1.
Oh.
He's going to pick up $250,000.
Does he?
And this is what happens to me. I just walk through the book. I got a nice jersey on, or
Dave,
a
do you
nice
think
hat.
he hedges that?
What do you think?
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, you don't need that. You don't need to be a gambling expert.
No,
to know that.
I would imagine. Or is he what do you think the right side of his is, Dave? I mean, Keith and I talked about it a little bit. We're going to have plenty of time to break down the game.
Yeah.
What do you think the right side, your initial impressions of what the right side is, KC or Philly?
I mean, it's a little early to even, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. I mean, I've had 2 guys tell me, both of whom I respect their opinions. One is on one and one is on the other. All
right, so let me give you something.
10 and 20 dimes a game. So
we got 45 seconds. Let me give you something. Yes. So the Chiefs are the number 1 passing offense in the NFL. The Eagles are the number 1 passing defense. Historically, when this happens in the Super Bowl, the team that has the better defense, the number 1 passing defense, comes away as the winner. If you believe in history, streaks, and trends. So there you go. All right.
Can you imagine Philly Jones? They're gonna.
I need a cheesesteak right now.
Oh, dude, I'd love it.
I could go for a good
baby blue
cheesesteak.
looks good on you.
Thank you.
Cheesesteak, yes.
Can you imagine if I actually had blue eyes like you? This would be something.
Roll it out, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna roll it out.
Good job, Ernie.
You need 7 minutes of planks, boys, before Friday.
I'll do it. I'll get it done.
Don't fail me. And remember, it's Arrowhead, not Burrowhead. Don't you ever.
We'll see you tomorrow at 10. See you guys.
Ever.